I'll wait day 6th grade. This week we are going to continue talking about adjectives. We briefly talked about some adjectives when we talked about our feelings. All those words were adjectives. A couple weeks ago we learned how to form and conjugate the verb to be in Latin. And so I want to just go over some adjective rules so that we can make complete sentences in Latin using a noun, an adjective, and a verb. Let's get started. Okay, to get started, get out your Latin notebook and open it up to the table of contents. We are going to add a page titled Adjectives. And this is going to go on page 7 in my notebook. So then I'll flip to that page and title it the same thing, Adjectives. And I want to give it a date. This is going to be sometime between 10:12 and 10:16. All right. Adjectives describe nouns. So to get us kind of kicked off with our adjectives, I want to write down a little bit more vocab. Just a short list of sola, solum means alone. Malus, mala, malum means bad. Amicus, amica, amicum means friendly. Poker, pokra, pokrum means beautiful. And last but not least, aiger, aigra, aigrum mean sick. Alright, so notice that each of these adjectives has 3 forms. When we were talking about our feelings, we only had 2 forms. That's just because I didn't give you the third one. We didn't need it yet. In Latin, there are 3 forms because there are 3 genders. There's the masculine, which is represented by the first form, the feminine, which is represented by the second form, and the neuter, which is represented by the third form. Now, when you are describing people, you'll use the first form or the masculine for boys. But if you're describing a girl, you would use the second form or the feminine. Alright, now when you're describing things in Latin, you don't necessarily always use the neuter. In English, that's pretty much what we do. When we're talking about a thing, we'll call it it. There are a few examples of nouns that we ascribe a gender to even though they don't necessarily have a biological sex, like boats. Boats are usually called she or her, even though we just made that up and gave it to them. The same way we just make boats feminine, in Latin, every noun has a gender. It's either feminine, masculine, or neuter, and sometimes these genders make sense. For example, the gender of boy is masculine and the gender of girl is feminine. But some of them don't make very much sense. For example, the Latin word for manliness and strength and courage, virtus, is a feminine noun. Kinda goofy. So, when you're describing things, you can't assume its gender like you can when you're describing people. When you're describing people, you can assume boys are masculine and girls are feminine. But when you are describing things, you need to know or look up the gender of the noun. The gender of a noun is in its dictionary entry. So if you look up a word in a Latin dictionary, it will tell you what gender it is. For example, arbor, arboris is feminine. So it has this F that follows after. Arbor, arboris is feminine and it means tree. So if I wanted to write a sentence describing a tree, I would write arbor magna est. And I would use this feminine form, the second form, because the noun is feminine. So you use the first form for the masculine nouns, the second form for feminine nouns, and the third form for neuter nouns. Alright, once you get this all written down, make sure you take the quiz on Schoology. You can take it as many times as you need until you get 100%. I would like to see everyone get 100% on it. If you have any questions about adjectives, shoot me an email or a message on Schoology. And also, I might not see some of you for a few weeks because of our blended learning schedule. Because of that, I am assigning a little bit of homework. I want you guys to study on Duolingo for at least half an hour a week. You can do more than that, but please try to get in at least half an hour of Duolingo. You can split it up into 3 10-minute sessions and just do 10 minutes of Duolingo 3 days. That's all I have for you. Walete.